What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Tuesday. Glad to have everybody along. Sam Phelan in today for Zach Bingham. We got a lot to talk about because Zach and I came up with a conversation on the fly during yesterday's show about two potential trades that would give the Titans a new franchise quarterback. So we'll discuss which would be better for the Titans. Would it be trading up from number 11 to number 1 overall to take Bryce Young, for example, or CJ Stroud, whoever floats your boat? Or would it make more sense and be better to trade for Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers? So we're going to discuss both of these scenarios, what would go along with both hypothetical trade scenarios and which we think will be better for the Titans overall. And you can define better however you want to, but we're going to do that. And then we'll talk about a coaching change that Sam reported on yesterday, the breaking news from A to Z Sports that Luke Steckel leaving the Titans coaching staff after nearly a full decade in Nashville with the Titans to go to the Chicago Bears. So we'll discuss everything that goes on and went on with that and ask if it's a big deal, small deal, no deal, and try to draw some lines to see what we think of this overall situation. It is Tuesday, which means Tuesday sports trivia. Zach, usually the trivia master, he is out today working on some other projects. But Sam, I've got 5 questions for us, and we need to go 4-1 because we went 4-1 last week. Time to go 4-1 again as we try to climb to get our over 69% over the next 3 weeks. So we've got to do a good job there. So welcome in. We're going to have a great show. Thanks for jumping on here again this morning.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to have this fine Tuesday. These days these off-season days kind of all blend together for me. It's hard to keep track sometimes, but it is a Tuesday morning. And if you're joining us this Tuesday morning, make sure you share the show. First things first this morning. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, send the link to a friend, tweet the link, however it is that you are consuming this morning's content. Make sure you're getting a friend involved because sharing is caring, and more Titans fans in the conversation make for a better conversation here on A to Z Sports. So that is the best way to support us. Share it before we kick things off.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered, as always, by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is our Titans reporter, Sam Phelan, in this morning for Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and also check out more of our Titans content on Instagram and TikTok as well. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage rates and service. Learn more about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ, and Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. So Sam, yesterday was a busy day when it came to the NFL, as the NFL is all gathering in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine. A lot of that officially starts today when it comes to meetings and conversation and other business happening. But drills will not happen on the field until later on this week. Buck Rising is live from the NFL Combine for A to Z Sports primetime tonight at 7 o'clock for tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night shows. So we'll see what Buck gets there, and he'll also talk to Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel on his radio show Wednesday, which is tomorrow. But Sam, we kicked off the week with your Chicago Bears having this number 1 pick up for grabs. We talked about this a lot yesterday from Adam Schefter. Sources, the Bears already have been approached by multiple teams about that number 1 overall pick, and that Chicago is leaning towards moving that number 1 overall pick. And so that led to a big conversation about what the Titans and if the Titans should be interested in making that call. So to ask you the question to catch everybody up, do you think Rand Carthon should at least inquire about that number 1 overall pick that Chicago has now up for sale?
Well, I'll get into more detail about it as we have our conversation later. But if Rand Carthon's not inquiring, he's not doing his job. Like at the end of the day, as a new general manager for a team that could potentially be involved in the quarterback carousel and a team very publicly shopping the number 1 overall pick, you have to pick up the phone. Like you have to ask the question on what is the asking price? What would it take? And then that's when you can look in the mirror and say, all right, is this smart for what we need to do right now? But yes, Rand Carthon should pick up the phone and call Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears and see what the current asking price is for that number 1 spot and what they feel like the market is like for teams, by the way, in their division looking to move up.
Yeah, and I think Zach and I both agreed with that yesterday that, Rand Carthon should absolutely make that call, find out how much it's going to cost, and do everything there. Now, Derek Carr is another situation happening at the NFL Combine where I think it's kind of strange that an NFL free agent quarterback is at the NFL Combine going on team visits, but that's where we are now. I guess Derek Carr is taking his official visits like he's a high school recruit these days with NFL teams in the Combine. So that is interesting there. So we'll see how that all plays out. But the quarterback carousel is something that's going to continue to be a big deal in NFL off seasons moving forward. I think for the foreseeable future, as it's really picked up the last couple of off seasons, maybe really started with Tom Brady's exit from New England back 3 off seasons ago. And so now, Sam, we got to this conversation yesterday. Would it be better for the Titans to trade up from 11 to number 1 to draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whoever the Tennessee Titans brass thinks is the number 1 quarterback in this draft? Or would it be better to go ahead and trade for veteran Aaron Rodgers that would involve that number 11 pick to get the Green Bay Packers former MVP quarterback, to get him for the last half of his career or the last bit of his career to come to Nashville to reset, reload instead of a rebuild? Because, you know, we did retool, I guess is how we did it. Retool with Aaron Rodgers, reset, keep Tannehill, or rebuild with that rookie quarterback. So what do you think about the overall process of these two hypotheticals before we dive into our opinions here?
Yeah, I mean, I think timeline is something that is really going to factor into what I feel like is the smartest thing for the Titans to do. And you have to look at the finances of both of them. Obviously, the rookie quarterback comes with the benefit of being on a rookie deal. And you know, having that flexibility for the next 5 years does a lot for your cap space and your cap hit moving forward. And Aaron Rodgers brings over a hefty salary number. Specifically in 2025 and 2026, I think it is, but it's paying him a lot of money in the future. So I think you have to balance the finances. I think you have to balance the timeline it puts you on as a franchise and where you want to be 3 or 4 years from now. That's kind of the question that I keep coming back to for what the Titans should do with Ryan Tannehill or with any of the available replacements is, where do you want your franchise to be in 3 years' time? And how do you set yourself up this offseason to be in that spot, to have the right quarterback and have the right fit when you kind of give Rand more of an opportunity to get a couple of years into his tenure here and start building a roster in his image?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, because I don't disagree. It's trying to look at the future and the immediate and set yourself up the best possible way. But again, like, we know who Mike Vrabel is. You've covered Mike Vrabel now for 1 full season, and we know that guy was just, you know, wreathing in pain from the 7-game losing streak to end this past season. I did think it was interesting, that stat that came out last week, that Mike Vrabel's been the Titans head coach for 82 regular season games, and the Tennessee Titans have been in playoff contention for 100% of those 82 games. And so Mike Vrabel saying, well, you know what? Let's just kind of rebuild this thing and not be in contention is something that he probably has zero interest in doing, which I think is why this conversation is real, because Mike Vrabel doesn't want to lose. Rand Carthon doesn't want to lose either, but Rand Carthon also has to have the best interest in the long term. And so that's where I want to bring up this hypothetical, because we want to ask this question to you guys, but we also want to understand the parameters and the context of what it would mean. Which trade would be better for the Titans? So this isn't there is no C answer, neither. There is an A or there is a B. There is no C. So which trade would be better for the Tennessee Titans? Trading up to get the number 1 overall pick with the Bears ahead of the Texans and also ahead of the Colts for a quarterback like Bryce Young to reset your rookie quarterback salary? Or would it be better for the Titans to continue to go for playoff contention to try to win the AFC South again in 2023 by trading for Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers? That is the question we want to ask. Which would be better for the Tennessee Titans to go after in a hypothetical trade up to number 1 with the Bears to get a quarterback like Bryce Young, or for Aaron Rodgers? And I think there's some interesting parameters we have to put on this, Sam. And we talked about this yesterday on the show. I think you understand and align with this. If you're going to trade up from 11 to 1, the Chicago Bears want and would want a lot in return, and that would probably include Jeffrey Simmons.
I think so. And I think that's pretty much a slam dunk at this point in terms of what they would be asking, because 11 to 1 is not just like a lot of spots to jump for the Titans. It's a lot of spots for the Bears to fall. Like you talk about, they're in talks with the Texans dropping back to number 2 overall. They're in discussions with the Colts dropping back to number 4 overall. And the benefit of making either one of those trades is if you're assuming that both Houston and Indianapolis are going to take a quarterback, you're then sitting at number 4 with the ability to land either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson and one of those elite defensive talents in this year's draft, while also trading out of the number 1 pick and getting future assets. So like that is what the Titans are competing with. You have to compete with the other teams looking to go and get that pick.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Bears and I'm looking at dropping down 10 spots, I no longer can get that elite defensive talent that I think can be a cornerstone of my franchise. Well, the Titans have a defensive talent that can be the cornerstone of a franchise that's needing a new deal coming up.
Yep.
And if you're trading up for a rookie quarterback, you might not be looking to pay Jeffrey Simmons the money that he wants and deserves.
Yeah.
So that is a realistic thing that you have to keep in mind when you're factoring in, hey, going up to number 1 might be a first rounder this year. Jeffrey Simmons, maybe a first rounder the year after that, and some supplemental like 4th, 3rd round picks. Like it's a haul of picks and a star player.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's the parameters we have to set. So let's ask everybody the question and get to look. A lot of comments have already been flying in. That's fantastic. We'll get to your comments here in a second. Who would you rather have? Which trade would be better for the Titans moving up to number 1 to get a quarterback like Bryce Young that would send Jeffrey Simmons to the Chicago Bears, or trading for Aaron Rodgers, which would mean you would keep Jeffrey Simmons, but also have Aaron Rodgers and giving up the number 11 overall pick this year in the draft for that. So Sam, I'm going to send you to the chat here momentarily, but first I'm going to tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans, phenomenal. Great for your health coverage. If you need new health coverage because you're probably paying too much for less than coverage, as Sam's alarm goes off, maybe that's his alarm to say, I need to go to fbhp.com/ATOZ to get new health coverage, because dental, vision, health, they've got you covered. They've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years. And here's the best thing, because they've got a lot of great options for the senior citizens in our life, but they also have a lot of fantastic options for the young professionals in our lives, including maybe you guys out there who are trying to figure out how to go about your health coverage as you enter into adulthood. And Farm Bureau Health Plans, they want to look out for you and the future generations of Tennesseans by giving you those type of assets and that value there to learn about how to go about your health coverage as an adult. So check out Farm Bureau Health Plans. Go see them, go inquire about what they could do for you, because it's great coverage for a low, fair rate, and you get in early. It's always good with Farm Bureau Health Plans. So check them out at fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM, and I am in love with BetMGM right now. It's just a great time of year to be on a sports book. March Madness. We are approaching March 1st. The countdown has begun, and March Madness is around the corner. BetMGM is the place to be for all of your college basketball over the next month. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before with BetMGM, and you sign up using the code ATOZ Sports to receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. You register with BetMGM, you get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, daily boosted odds, specials, and a lot more. With BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game mean that much more. Find out why it is the king of sportsbooks by signing up with that code. That's ATOZ Sports on BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday. Sam Phelan is in for Zach Bingham today. March begins at midnight, everybody. So buckle up for what that has to do. So, Sam, I'm going to send you to the chat here to go over what the comments are saying, because we've thrown out this hypothetical, and I think it's a fair conversation. Which trade would be better for the Titans? Moving up to number 1 to get Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, enter whoever you think the best quarterback is in this draft, or trading for Aaron Rodgers. I think we've set the parameters that trading up to number 1 would include sending Jeffrey Simmons to Chicago as well as the 11th overall pick. And that if you trade away that 11th overall pick to Green Bay, you would get Aaron Rodgers and probably have to send next year's first and some other things as well. But Jeffrey Simmons to Chicago for that top rookie, or Aaron Rodgers coming to Nashville and you can keep Jeffrey Simmons. So, Sam, I'll go ahead and send you to the chat to see what the people are saying. Which trade would be better? And there's a lot of comments, so have fun scrolling through them.
Yeah, this will be quite the trip here. Titans Rossi says Rodgers. Steven says moving up for the number 1 pick. Titan Up says move up for 1. We've got a lot of cheaters here. You said don't say neither. Neither was not a choice, but we've got plenty of people saying neither regardless.
This is an A or B multiple choice question. There is no C.
But yeah, I mean, that's the parameters, right? You have to make one of these deals. Which one is better for the Titans to make? We have number 1 overall pick here. Charles says Bryce Young, please. He wants Bryce Young. Jeff says give me Rodgers. Number 1 pick. Trading up would be better from Mark D. Pick 1 from Q Curley. Let's see. We've got A from Sam Page. I believe that means trading up for the number 1 overall pick as
I
A.
don't think so.
Maurice Perry says
real quick,
Young.
real quick. Borkin says it's A or B, or see your way out of this conversation.
There you go. I like that. Jorge says Rodgers all day. Tiffany says number 1 pick. Q Curley says Bryce Young. Cindy says get the rookie. Lucas says trade with the Bears. Here, this is you want a franchise QB, not a QB in darkness. I think a little play on the Aaron Rodgers darkness.
He's
retreat.
no longer in darkness.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
He's
Which,
out.
by the way, this might be my hot take, but I don't understand why he's getting made fun of for that. I would do a darkness retreat tomorrow. I think it sounds excellent.
Well, no, don't tomorrow. Wait till we get Sam. I will let you go on a darkness retreat in the month of June.
What you have to do is you have to send me with a camera, and we'll do an A to Z Sports exclusive. Titans reporter Sam Phelan does the Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat. We'll throw it up on the A to Z Sports YouTube, and we can document my 2-day journey of just sitting in darkness.
Would we give you a match to to use for your cameos into the camera on like what day may? I don't know what time it is, but I'm here. I mean, I think that would be a good exercise, because then you could write about it.
That'd be some elite content. Yeah, right. And then, well, how about this? I will, if Aaron Rodgers winds up on the Tennessee Titans, I will do a darkness retreat.
if Aaron Rodgers winds up on a team that A2ZSports.com is covering, you will do a darkness retreat.
That's looking very likely with the rapid expansion of A2ZSports.com. So.
More on that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think this would be interesting for content. And now we could set this up to where it's timely beneficial for you. We would make sure that you can be safe and obviously, and maybe, compensate you for your extra time in darkness, but maybe that's something we can do in June or early July.
It'd be a great video. That'd be a must-watch video right there.
Yeah.
Not sure
Anyway.
you'd be able to see much, but yeah, getting back on track.
Yeah.
Big Ten Jeff says Rodgers, keep your picks. Well, you're going to have to give up picks for Rodgers, but probably less picks than going up to number one. Patrick says Rodgers. Billy Jones says Rodgers. Jarrell's taking Rodgers. Jerry says Aaron Rodgers win now. Ethan says Aaron Rodgers. Denise says the rookie trade, go get Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whoever in the draft. Rodgers win now at all costs from Mark Gonzalez. Top tier says Rodgers. Let's see. Number one pick from Ronnie. If I had to choose, it would be Rodgers from Devin Mills. So a little bit of both. Lot of comments that are a little difficult to scroll through all of these. Man, this is But Austin, I'll go to you. Okay. Where are you on this? Either or. It's the number one overall pick or it's Aaron Rodgers. What is the smarter trade for the Tennessee Titans right now?
So, and this is the first time that I've seen Ryan Tannehill's name be involved, because this would obviously mean that Ryan Tannehill would be traded as well or flat out cut by the Titans if either of these things happened, which means the Titans would save, what is it? Pre-June 1 for Tannehill, you save 17.
It's 17. It's right at 17 million. And
then 27. Yeah. Right. So you would save at the very least $17 million by cutting Ryan Tannehill in either of these situations. And then if you think about what you would save in trading Jeffrey Simmons to Chicago, his fifth-year option that he's currently set to make right now before any type of extension is just over $10 million. That's 100% on this year's cap. So now you're talking, if you trade or get rid of Tannehill in some capacity and then also ship Jeffrey Simmons to Chicago, now you're saving at the very least $27+ million there. And so, Sam, I honestly think the better option for the Tennessee Titans is to go with the young guy, trade up to number one, get the rookie quarterback who's going to be relatively cheap over the next 4 years, or relatively cheap for the next 3 years at minimum. Try to completely retool this, rebuild this, reset this, and go see what you can build around the young guy. Because I don't think, and this is maybe a personal opinion on what I believe Aaron Rodgers is as a quarterback right now, is that I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the MVP that he was just 2 seasons ago. This past year, I know he dealt with a thumb injury that, a thumb injury on your throwing hand is going to, not help things. But I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is worth all that would go into it. And so I honestly believe what would be better for the Titans is trading away the 11th overall pick, sending Jeffrey Simmons to Chicago, and going up and getting Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, whoever that might be, as long as it's not Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, because I would go crazy if that happens. But I would be understanding if it was Bryce Young or CJ Stroud and what that would represent overall. I think that would be better for the Titans rather than going and trading for Aaron Rodgers and seeing what happens.
Yeah. I'm on the other side of this. And for starters, I don't love either option. I think the Aaron Rodgers cap hit could be a serious problem, but I think it is more doable than number one overall. I am very, very vehemently, and I have an article about this up on A2ZSports.com about why the Titans have no business trading for the number one overall pick. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me in terms of their overall franchise goal. Number one, I don't want to trade Jeffrey Simmons. I have no interest in trading Jeffrey Simmons. You can sign him to a long-term deal, keep him here and build your defense around him. That would be my preferred outcome for the Jeffrey Simmons saga. I think he needs to remain a Tennessee Titan for a long period of time. Number one, I'm not really in love with any quarterback. I don't love Bryce Young. I think he's a bit undersized and underwhelming to me. I actually prefer CJ Stroud over Bryce Young, but I don't think you're chomping at the bit to jump to number one to take a CJ Stroud or an Anthony Richardson, who seems to be flying up these draft boards. So that is questionable to me. I think next year's class is significantly better. And if you were talking about a Drake May or a Caleb Williams in this year's class, I think it's a different conversation. Number two, I just think you have too many other holes in the roster to fill to justify giving up the draft capital that it would take to go up to number one. Like, you don't have an offensive line. You don't have weapons right now. You can't go grab the rookie quarterback, but then trade all of your draft picks around it to not give him a roster and supplemental roster that will make him successful. Because the Titans' current build does not make Bryce Young or any other rookie QB successful on their team, in my opinion. And then the last thing, I think Rodgers fits into what I said earlier, which is the window of the Titans franchise and where they need to go. I view them as a team that has a generational running back that is aging. Some aging defensive players like Kevin Byard. You don't have a ton of a super competitive, super young roster right now. So some of the guys that you're hanging your hat on of being contributors, the Nico Autry's and all these guys throughout the roster, you have to capitalize on them now. And I think the Titans need to capitalize on them now, because what is the point of bringing in a rookie QB and a young core with just occasional guys that are in their prime on a team that's not going to be competitive? Like, Aaron Rodgers sets them up more to be all in for the next 2 to 3 years. And if it doesn't work, you're in a more ideal spot to tear it all down, have all the cap, have all the draft picks, and build yourself back up through the draft in that way. I think that's a more realistic timeline for the franchise.
Okay, look, and I get that. And look, Sam, I think it's fair for you to say that you're not exactly excited about either of these hypotheticals. I'm not either, but in playing the game that we're playing, it's which is better. And I think trading up and resetting with a rookie quarterback contract and understanding that Jeffrey Simmons would have to be involved in that. I love Jeffrey Simmons. I think he is an absolute freak of nature. I think he's a beast. I think he's worth every penny the Titans should pay him this offseason in a contract extension. But there's an opportunity that could present itself where the Titans can, and Rand Carthon could get a clean slate. And getting a clean slate, now an aggressive way to get a clean slate is by trading up for a number one overall pick, because that is, putting your neck out there a little bit and trading away an asset like Jeffrey Simmons. But you're saving a lot of money by, moving on from Tannehill in both these situations. And you're also saving money from not having to pay Jeff. And so you bring up the great, solid, valid point of, you don't have anybody around Bryce Young right now to help him. That is true. There is no offensive line, but now you've, at least in my scenario, have got $27 million extra dollars at minimum of cap space to go build that offensive line via veterans and free agency and players that have played in the league before at O-line around Bryce Young to help him get started. Where with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to have you go through this here in a second, with Aaron Rodgers, you still don't have an offensive line. He's expensive, and you're trading away the 11th overall draft pick. Like, how are you going to build the offensive line around Aaron Rodgers, who is 40 years old and can't move like he used to, and them bones can't hold up like a younger player? So I want to get to that in a second, and I'll let you respond to that. But I do want to ask you if you could help us out here, because I know you've done some of this research. And what would Aaron Rodgers cost the Titans on the cap and with a trade? I'll give you time to pull up your research here now, but what would Aaron Rodgers cost the Titans in a trade when it comes to what his money would be on the salary cap this year, and then what it would be down the road? So I'll let you pull up your research on that. But first, let me tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Go check them out and make them a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon, or once again at their website, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. They've got great vehicles, great models there, and great technology with the Hyundai brand, and for a fantastic price because it's in Lebanon, which means you don't have to pay those downtown Nashville prices on your next car. So go see our guy Payne Bone and the team that he's built out there in Lebanon at Wilson County Hyundai to find your next ride. There's no pressure. They've got great sales staff that's there on site there, and great inventory for you to look at. Test drive. You can test drive it for 24 hours, or you can take it home, see how it feels the next morning when you wake up and see it out by your house and say, hey, that's what it might look like if I go with this car. But check them out. Go see our guy Payne Bone. Tell him A to Z Sports sent you, and he'll help you out even more with Wilson County Hyundai.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks, and you can enjoy all of your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up with the code ATOZ Sports and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. With BetMGM, every game, every play, every day means that much more. So make sure you're signing up and using that code. It's ATOZ Sports on BetMGM.com and the BetMGM app to find out why they are the king of sportsbooks.
Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expiring 7 days from issuance. And for public game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So Sam, I asked you to pull up your research because I know you did this project a week or so maybe ago. But how much would Aaron Rodgers cost the Titans in salary cap and dollars if the Titans were to trade for the Green Bay Packers quarterback and former MVP?
Well, for starters, Aaron Rodgers' contract is like the most complicated contract I've ever laid my eyes on. Like I normally when I head to Over the Cap and Spotrac.com, like I have a pretty good idea of what I'm looking at here. And I just sat like looking at it's like, where is that cash number coming from? I'm trying to crunch numbers. And I think Evan Winter and I finally got to the bottom of it, which was Evan was a huge help in trying to make sense of what some of these options mean. But essentially, the Titans in 2023 would actually owe Rodgers a very realistic number. I have it here sitting right about $16 million. They would be actually overall would save about $1 million or so by cutting Tannehill and bringing in Aaron Rodgers. That's the immediate number.
So this year it's not bad.
This year it's not bad. Next year it's not even bad. It's right around $32 million in 2024, which, you know, a lot of money that you owe him, but for an elite franchise quarterback is probably pretty much market value.
Well, it's less than what Tannehill would owe you this year, right? You're talking about Rodgers in 2024 being less than what Tannehill would be in 2023.
Yeah, well, the issue with the Aaron Rodgers contract comes in 2025 and 2026. Because Rodgers has options into his contract now that basically get picked up every year he's on the team and turn it into a signing bonus where you would owe him somewhere around $52 million in 2025 and about $45 million in 2026 of fully guaranteed money. That money would be, you'd be on the hook for it as an option, like paid out to him already just by keeping him for the next 2 years. So who knows if he's going to play that long? You still have to pay him. And I think that's or at least part of that, if he were to just choose to retire. But you start looking at, you know, paying a 40-something Aaron Rodgers $50 million in 2025, which is a problem. But
Yeah. And that's something that, you know, you have to think about, because if it's going to count on your cap regardless, and who knows when it comes to the trade scenarios with what the Packers, because the Packers are also in a spot where they need to move on from Aaron Rodgers too. And so what type of contractual negotiation can you make with the Packers in this trade to say, hey, how can we make 2025 and 2026 feel better here? And could that be a part of the trade where the Packers say, we'll, be on the hook for part of this 2025, number, because the Packers are in a spot where Jordan Love's going into year 3, and they've got
year 4.
Is it really?
If I'm not mistaken, this is year 4 for Jordan Love. I believe.
No, 2021 draft. So 21 season, 22 season. So this will be year 3 for Jordan Love because they drafted him in the first round of 2021.
That checks out.
Yeah. So year 3 of Jordan Love, which means the Packers have to make their decision on Jordan Love's 5th-year option after this upcoming season. And so they need Jordan Love to play this year. And so they need Aaron Rodgers to go somewhere else. And they have to be able, I think, it's tough. And so
it is. This is going to be year 4 for Jordan Love.
Are you sure?
I just looked at it. He was the 2020 draft, which is why, because Austin, I took this point with Green Bay during the season was I thought it was an issue that they didn't play Jordan Love sooner. Like they were 4-8.
Yeah, you're right. It was the 2020 draft because the Titans wanted to trade out of 29 and Jordan Love and the Packers screwed them early. And that's why they stuck and picked Isaiah Wilson.
I mean, but it's just inconceivable that a team could draft a quarterback in the first round and not give him a chance to play for 4 years and then have to make a decision on his 5th-year option. I mean, that's insane. And Jordan Love, by the way, deserves a chance to play and to prove himself for sitting for 3 years. But also the Packers need to know what they have. And I think they made a big mistake not playing Jordan Love sooner when they were sitting at 4-8. And yeah, they ended up almost making the playoffs, but their realistic Super Bowl odds were very, very low. And you could have given Jordan Love 5 games as being your starter to assess him and see, hey, are we good with rolling with this guy next year as our starting quarterback? But now you just kind of don't know. And it's all a mystery. And you have to make a tough decision about Aaron Rodgers, not knowing what the guy behind him has.
Yeah. And so now the Packers have to decide on Jordan Love's 5th-year option May 1st.
And he hasn't played.
And he hasn't played that much. He played a couple little spots here and there. He threw a nice touchdown pass to Christian Watson in primetime. But other than that, he has not played all that much. And that 5th-year option is at the very least going to be $20.27 million. And so that's a lot of money to commit to a guy in 2 years from now that you've never really seen as the guy. And so Malachi says, the Packers screwed Jordan Love's career. Well, and I think they've put themselves in a bad spot when they made that draft pick a few years ago, and that ruined some Aaron Rodgers relationships and also has put them in a tough spot this year with their quarterback situation. So I do think it's interesting. The Packers are going to have to make a decision. And so just maybe a team trading for Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of extra leverage in knowing the Packers have to get out from under that and being able to play with those 2025 and 26 numbers for Rodgers.
Yeah. One last thing I want to get to real quick, because I think this is a point I wanted to circle back on from something you said earlier. You mentioned the clean slate and how you can have a new GM come in and they obviously want a clean slate. And trading for the top pick in the draft, trading for a quarterback does that. I think my reason for, that I could get behind an Aaron Rodgers trade, I wouldn't love it, but I could get behind it. It's because I do think it is very easy in the NFL when you have talent to wipe it clean. I think you can do it rather quickly if you go get Aaron and it's not working, he isn't that MVP quarterback anymore. You're stuck in the same spot and you have this realization of, okay, we need to get younger and reset it. You have guys and pieces to move and money you can clear and you can go and, go get the pick then. I think it's very quick to wipe the slate clean and have a blank canvas. But what I don't want the Titans to do is draft Bryce Young, draft CJ Stroud, draft Anthony Richardson, whoever it is at the top of the draft, not supplement the roster around them. how it needs to be a competitive team. And then by the time you build the team around them, you're coming up on needing to pay a quarterback contract. You need to pay out that rookie quarterback. And then you're in a tough spot. Like, you want to take advantage of those rookie contract years. So I think you have to get yourself into a spot where you're either where the Bears are, which is bad and as young and inexperienced as possible to grow with your quarterback and cheap, right?
Yeah.
Or a really, really, really competitive roster that's just the quarterback away that you can then plug a young quarterback into and succeed, which is what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes.
The Eagles, right? The Eagles used Jalen Hurts in the second round. I think, one thing.
And now you're on a cheap quarterback contract for a pretty good quarterback. Jalen Hurts is I think turning into a really good quarterback after what he did in the Super Bowl. But the Eagles have managed to take that and put a great roster around him and succeed. And then you have the other option of the Jaguars or the Bears, who have gone for the, hey, let's just be really bad, get the quarterback, get really young, and then have it all grow together. But if you get in that middle, like in between range, you end up with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, where they had to pay the quarterback and then the rest of the roster wasn't good enough anymore. And now you're just in purgatory and trapped. Like, it's a hard spot to be in. And if you're not careful, moving on a quarterback this year with the number 1 overall pick might put the Titans in danger to do that.
Something I want to research more on, because I don't really remember off the top of my head of how it all came together so beautifully. But however the Cincinnati Bengals did this, do that. Right. Like, it's the same thing you're talking about is they've got a legitimately good roster, and then they have Joe Burrow to go along with it and weapons around him. And Joe Burrow has been cheap, about to be very rich, and about to be very expensive. But and now the Bengals are approaching that situation of having to make tough decisions with good players like a T. Higgins, but they were able to at least get to the Super Bowl with Burrow on a cheap deal. So, I think, I want to go do my own independent recollection and research on how that all kind of came into place. And I know Burrow getting hurt his rookie year helps too, because then they got Jamar Chase at the 5th overall pick. But how they still had a legitimate roster and had the number 1 overall pick with Joe Burrow, because they were competitive real quickly in year 2 after sucking the year before. So again, it's interesting that we can kind of table and do some more looking at for how the Bengals put that together. Jeff says, Austin, so you want to how the Titans do that? They start Malik Willis this year. I mean, maybe, but I don't think.
I think that brings you back to the Mike Vrabel point, though. If the Titans don't assess Malik Willis as a future starting quarterback for them, and they don't believe they can be competitive with him, how inclined is Mike Vrabel to waste a year if that's how he views it? I mean. Maybe the development of Malik Willis is the path the Titans take this year, and he ends up being your guy. That is still on the table. But you just wonder where Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon are, especially a new general manager that would be starting a young quarterback that he did not draft. So question marks there.
Robert asked, isn't the research having an elite quarterback? I'm more thinking about how the Bengals were able to have the defensive roster they had put together when they got Burrow and Chase and Joe Mixon and Higgins and everybody else. So we'll talk about that later on. But Sam, you broke some news yesterday at A2ZSports.com regarding a Titans coaching change that had some, interesting timing around it. We'll ask this question now to the chat. Luke Steckel is leaving the Titans after his role was shifted this offseason. Is that a big deal, small deal, or no deal? And here's the report from Sam yesterday. The Titans assistant coach Luke Steckel is preparing to leave the team for a position with the Chicago Bears, according to multiple sources that A to Z put together. That Luke Steckel had been a part of this franchise for nearly 10 seasons and graduated up the last couple of years as tight ends coach, but was moved to an analyst role and not looked at or considered for the offensive coordinator job. So big deal, small deal, or no deal. And we'll get to your answers. And then Sam and I will give our opinions as well. But first, tell us all about Hughes and Coleman.
Hughes and Coleman. Let me find the layover here. There it is. Hughes and Coleman injury lawyers. They are the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans, and for good reason. If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need to call Hughes and Coleman for your free case consultation. Their phone number is as easy as it gets. That's 800-800-4600. They have the resources to go and fight those big insurance companies for you to get every dollar you deserve from your injury in a car wreck. Hughes and Coleman has recovered over $1 billion, that's billion with a B, for their clients in Tennessee and Kentucky over the last 30 years. So go get that free case consultation. That's 800-800-4600 for Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, Principal Office, Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, BetMGM current users, take advantage of the NHL one-game parlay insurance feature by opting into it in your BetMGM app. That means you get up to $25 back in bonus bets if your one-game parlay in the NHL of 4 legs or more falls just 1 leg short. So check that out in your BetMGM app today. So Sam, I'll let you set the table on this because we're asking Luke Steckel going to the Bears and leaving the Titans. Big deal, small deal, or no deal. I see like John says no deal, bye Felicia. Mark D says no deal. Top tier says 0 deal. I see no deal, a lot of no deals. Orlando, no deal. He wouldn't let Swain go out there on the field. Nick says who, no deal. Ronnie says no deal. This mood was weird at AF. And then Mr. Jones says who. So I'll let you kind of go through your report and then everything about this situation and then see if that changes anybody's answer.
Yeah, well, Luke Steckel, for those of you who are asking who, has been with the Titans for a decade. He came on staff in 2013, has kind of slowly worked his way up, done good work. His family has ties to the organization. His father, Les, was the offensive coordinator for the Titans during their Super Bowl run in that 1999 season. And Luke came along, very smart guy, Princeton graduate, Brentwood High School alumni. He's grew up in the area. So the Titans mean a lot to him. And he's been here for quite a while now, 10 years working his way up. He was an offensive assistant for a while. And then the last 2 years, he has been the tight ends coach, as many of you probably know. But this year, Austin, I think he did a really good job with the Titans tight ends because Chig Okonkwo really came into his own in the NFL after being, a later round pick, came in, big play threat. I think it was something like 15 to 17 yards per catch this year. Mm-hmm. Him and Austin Hooper, excellent on third down, picked up a lot of first downs, really 2 of the more reliable receiving targets for Ryan Tannehill on the season. And, a lot of growth for Chig early on. So that is a testament to Luke Steckel and his coaching. And you have to keep in mind the tight end coach position. What does that mean for the Tennessee Titans? Well, that is what Todd Downing was before he got promoted to offensive coordinator. That is what Arthur Smith was before he got promoted to offensive coordinator. That role then goes to Luke Steckel, who does a nice job. The Titans are looking for an offensive coordinator. He is not a reported candidate for the role or somebody that was considered. Instead, Mike Vrabel goes with Tim Kelly, somebody he has a history with from Houston. And not only that, Luke Steckel gets moved out of his role as the tight ends coach and gets put as a run game analyst, was the title given to him. So who knows what that role was? Is it a promotion? Is it a demotion? Is it a lateral move? It's a new position that the Titans kind of made up this year for Luke Steckel to be a part of while they moved Tony Deuce to tight ends coach and shuffled some pieces around. And then you get word, A to Z Sports sources, that Luke Steckel is moving away from the team after over a decade with the team after Mike Vrabel reshuffles the deck here. He goes to Chicago with Matt Eberflus, who he has a history with, to be an assistant on the offensive line and work with the Bears at potentially that next opportunity. So why might it be a big deal or a small deal? Or I guess if you still believe it's no deal, well, because Luke Steckel is not a Mike Vrabel guy. He's not somebody that Mike Vrabel hired. He's not somebody Mike Vrabel has a history with other than being here when Mike Vrabel was also hired here. So when you look at how Mike Vrabel is promoting from within, the guys that he's targeting for some of these hires and the guys that earn promotions, he has tended to favor guys that he has had a history with. Luke Steckel not being one of those guys. Now, pursuing another opportunity. So what does it say about the state of the Titans coaching carousel within their own organization? And does that matter moving forward? Fair enough?
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's a small deal because he's an assistant coach, which I don't think there's ever really an opportunity where an assistant coach leaving is a big deal. But I think it's a small deal. But I do think there is potential that the idea behind how it all happened could snowball into a big deal, because it does seem like Mike Vrabel wants to go with guys that he knows and that he has history with. And again, I don't think Luke Steckel not getting the OC job is why this happened. I think it's more about the entirety of the situation. And so I say it's a small deal because Luke Steckel is a legitimately good coach at 37 years old, has a lot of experience, and is doing good things and did a lot of great things with the Titans. But
the Los Angeles Chargers, probably the most highly thought of offensive coordinator job like on the market this offseason, made a call to Luke Steckel wanting to interview him. Like he is pretty widely respected as somebody who has the chops to be an OC one day, and is an up and comer in the coaching world. So like, yeah, he's a good coach by all means, and he did a lot of good stuff with the tight ends.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to this story that we don't really know. And I don't know if we're going to know, but I think this is a small deal, but I do feel like there is some potential that it could turn into a bigger situation. That's how I answer it.
Yeah, I have it as a small deal too. Look, at the end of the day, like I give Mike Vrabel the benefit of the doubt at all times because he has proven to be one of the elite head coaches in the National Football League. I believe that regardless of what last year's record says, I believe Mike Vrabel had that team in playoff contention for, like you said, Austin, 82 games of coaching the Tennessee Titans. They've been in playoff contention for all of them. I give Mike Vrabel the benefit of the doubt. So I'm not going to make this a big deal or whatever, but yeah, I do think it kind of matters to one, lose a coach that you feel like has been with your organization through a lot and has also brought a lot to your organization over the years. But two, hopefully avoiding this snowballing into a trend where good coaches that don't have roots in the Vrabel tree end up not being a part of this team. That's the best way I could put it. Is I like when you said it could snowball into something bigger. For now, like I said, Mike Vrabel gets the benefit of the doubt in basically all scenarios for me, where I believe he knows what he's doing. I believe he has got good command of his staff, and that's about that much I give him credit for. But I also do think you can't overlook, like Luke Steckel, I think was a good head coach, or a good assistant coach rather.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Tuesday, which means it is time for Tuesday Sports Trivia. So Sam, I am the question master today. So we got 5 questions. We need to go at least 4-1 here on the show, but we'll get to those 5 questions. We only have one rule. That's no Googling, but Tuesday Sports Trivia coming up here in a second. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you got to know who to trust, got to know where to go. And that is in Franklin. They do everything under one roof instead of send you to different places like the imaging center, a surgery center, the rehab facility, all over town. No, Bone and Joint, one place. One place to go from the start to the end of your recovery process to make it easy for you, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before with BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZ Sports and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't hit. When you register with BetMGM, you get everything from parlay selection features to live betting options, player props, daily odds boost, and a lot more. With BetMGM at your fingertips, every game, every play means that much more. So find out why they are the king of sportsbooks. Sign up. That's code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app and BetMGM.com.
All right, Tuesday sports trivia, 5 questions. Sam, we're in a tough spot here because our goal was to go over 69% out of 100 questions. We only have 3 weeks left, so 15 questions.
Okay.
And yes, we know Marcus Mariota was cut by the Falcons, and that will not be a part of trivia. So that means if we want to go over 69,
reunion. This is a quarterback. This is a quarterback show this morning. Marcus Mariota reunion.
If we want to get over 69 correct, we have to go and get 12 out of the 15 here. So that means we have to average 4-1, 4-1, 4-1.
We got that.
You think we got that?
Yes.
All right. So
we might get 5 today. I'm feeling hot.
Okay. So we'll see how it goes because I've got 5 questions, and again, I'm not usually the question master, and so Sam, I'll send you to the chat. And Nate says, bring back 10 questions, Austin. No, Nate, I'm sorry. We don't, Zach and I and Sam, we don't have time to find 10 questions every week, nor do we have.
I'm in for 10 questions. I want that on record. I'm in for, yeah, the time thing, but Sam can never turn down bonus trivia.
Yeah.
That's a win for me.
All right. Question number 1. No Googling. Have to get that out there. What Chicago Bears running back was known as the Galloping Ghost? Do you know this off the top of your head?
Oh, goodness. No, which is embarrassing. But
because I do have
I have a guess, but I don't want to say it because I'm afraid it'll be.
All right. So the options are, and I think we can eliminate a couple of these: Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, Harold Grange.
I think it's Gale Sayers. I mean, I was
Gale Sayers with a Kansas Comet.
Well, the Galloping Ghost. I mean,
I think that's Harold Grange. I think it is.
I mean,
Gale Sayers.
It's not Walter Payton. It's not.
It's not. Yeah, that's Sweetness, and Gale Sayers was the Kansas.
All right.
Comet.
Well, then we narrowed it down. Then it's
Harold Grange.
I don't even know who that is, but
Red.
Oh, that makes more sense.
So can I? I'm trying to click it. Okay, it's not letting me click. All right. I don't know why that's not.
Final A to Z.
Okay. Never mind. I got a different thing. All right. So final A to Z, Harold Grange. Okay. I'll come back to the answers afterwards. What pitcher? Actually, no, I said that we got that right, by the way. So we're 1-0. Harold Grange was the Galloping Ghost, also known as Red Grange. There. All right. Number 2. This also could be up your alley. What pitcher holds the record for most complete games in a Major League Baseball career? What pitcher holds the record for most complete games in a Major League Baseball career? The options.
Wait, is it all modern era?
Cy Young.
Okay, so no. Okay.
Don Sutton. Roy Halladay. Nolan Ryan. What pitcher holds the record for most complete games in a Major League Baseball career? Cy Young, Don Sutton, Roy Halladay, or Nolan Ryan?
Well, it's either Nolan Ryan or Cy Young.
Yeah.
My gut was telling me Nolan Ryan before you read the question. That's why I was asking if it was modern era. But back in the Cy Young days, man, they used to just you said career. I think he had a short career.
Yeah.
Cy Young did.
Most complete games in a Major
Nolan
League
Ryan.
career.
I'd rather go with Nolan Ryan because he pitched for 25 years, whatever it was.
So do we want to go with Nolan Ryan?
I mean, the chat's between the two of them. I'm with the chat. I think it's kind of split because Cy Young, I just know they used to throw 500 innings back in his day, which was per year they were throwing 500 innings. So, let's go with Nolan Ryan. Okay. Final A to Z.
All right. Nolan Ryan is the answer. We missed that one. So the answer is Cy Young. 749 complete games.
I'm telling you, man, you look at those numbers, it's just unbelievable. They were throwing they were making 50 starts. Guys are going they're 36-4, throwing 500 innings, just numbers that aren't even conceivable today.
Well, Cy Young pitched for 22 years. I didn't realize that. Okay, this is interesting. What coach came off the bench to play for his team in the Stanley Cup final? What coach came off the bench to play for his team in the Stanley Cup final? Was it Wayne Gretzky, Dick Irvin, Toe Blake, or Lester Patrick?
I don't have a clue.
Coach who came off the bench to play for his team in the Stanley Cup final. Gretzky, Dick Irvin, Toe Blake, Lester Patrick.
I'm with Bork. I go with Mike Vrabel, linebacker for the Titans next year. Let's do that.
Right.
I don't have a clue. I mean, I'm not a big hockey guy. I don't know. Is this an emergency goalie or just somebody that was like legitimately a skater? So I'll defer to the chat here and see what. It's not Wayne Gretzky, not Gretzky. Okay, so we can learn.
Yeah, I don't think it's Gretzky.
Brad says Lester Patrick. Blake is my guess. Toe Blake. Lester is a crazy name. I don't think the chat knows either.
Do we go Lester Patrick?
Read them all one more time, and we'll
Wayne Gretzky, Dick Irvin, Toe Blake, Lester Patrick.
Let's go with Toe Blake.
I think Lester Patrick is the one to go to.
All right. Well, I'll trust you. We'll go with that.
Right, Lester Patrick.
I like Toe Blake, but we'll go with Lester Patrick. Final.
Lester Patrick is the answer, and correct. 44-year-old coach came off the bench and played goalie for his team in the Stanley Cup final.
All right. It was emergency goalie. There we go.
1928 Stanley Cup Finals when the Rangers beat the Montreal Maroons.
Where are you finding your questions from that we're on 1928 NHL?
It's called usefultrivia.com. So
it's not useful.
Maybe.
I mean,
so we are 2-1.
All right. 1928 NHL.
I think we can get this one. Who was the only person in NBA history to be named League MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year? Only person in NBA history to be named MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. The options: Bill Russell, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird. So Phil Jackson did not win an MVP. Larry Bird.
I think it's
Michael
Larry
Jordan
Bird.
was not a coach.
Yeah, he was.
A coach?
I think Bird coached.
No.
Pacers.
Michael Jordan was not a coach.
Oh. Okay. So I thought you said Bird.
Michael Jordan was not a coach, so I think we can eliminate Phil.
I think it's Larry Bird. He's the only one on there that I know won an MVP and did both of the other two things.
I also think it's Larry Bird. We going with Larry Bird?
Yes, final A to Z.
Boom, got it right. Larry Bird was the head coach of the Pacers from 97 to 2000, and then was in the president of basketball operations for the Pacers in 2003. So, all right, so we are now 3-1. So we've got one more question left. Let's see if I can find a question that I think is legitimate for.
Shout out to Indiana State.
Yeah.
Sycamores.
You're not. How many schools do you like now?
No, I don't like Indiana State. I'm just shouting them out.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the Valley. That Valley runs deep, by the way. All right, shout out Bradley Braves from the Valley, my former school. They won the Missouri Valley title on Sunday, so love that for the guys. The Civic Center or the Carver Arena was rocking.
Okay, I'm trying to find a good question to end on. This one's interesting. Who was the first NFL running back to finish the season with 10 or more carries and gain negative yards? I think I know this. Who was the first NFL running back to finish the season with 10 or more carries but gain negative yards?
Jordan Howard.
The options are Blair Thomas, Darren McFadden, Reggie Bush, Kenyatta Carter. So 3 pretty legit names.
Well, say them one more time.
First NFL running back to finish the season with 10 or more carries and gain negative yards: Blair Thomas, Darren McFadden, Reggie Bush, or Kenyatta Carter. So 3 really high draft picks, and I don't know who Blair Thomas is. I think it's Reggie Bush.
That was my first instinct too, because if you're doing 10 carries with negative yards, you have to be a little bit more of a gadget type of deal.
Yeah.
Like you have to lose a lot of yards. So
yeah, but Kenyatta Carter and Darren McFadden had injuries that could have set up like that. But I think it's Reggie Bush.
When though? I mean,
I don't know. You want to find out?
I mean, Reggie Bush was like, unless it was with Detroit, like he was good with the Lions, had a 1,000-yard season with the Lions at one point.
Are we going Reggie Bush?
Yeah, why not? Reggie Bush. That was my gut. That was your gut. Let's roll with it.
Reggie Bush with the Buffalo Bills, 12 carries for -3 yards in 2016.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because I didn't know Reggie Bush played for the Buffalo Bills. So I think that that did not come to mind at all for me.
Dang, 12 carries for -3 yards in 2016. All right. So, hey, guess what? We went 4-1. That's all we were here to do, was to get to 4-1, and we got it. So that's a big deal for
Survive in Advance. Survive in Advance. That's the name of the game in March here. We got 2 more weeks left of needing 8 right. So keeping ourselves alive, that's all we can really ask for.
That means we are now at 68.
This is where I come down to he played for the Bills. Exactly. Right? Like, I don't remember him with the Bills.
Yeah.
But probably because he had negative 3 yards or whatever. So
there we go. And where's our non-sports question for those asking? Look, I'm not an experienced question master, so I don't have all the different corners of the internet that Zach has for that. But that'll wrap it up for us here live on this Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow on a Wednesday morning, and Buck Rising live tonight from the NFL Combine at 7 p.m. Central. So A to Z Sports Primetime at 7 p.m. Central. Make sure you give the show a like before you go. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook and follow us there. But make sure you like this video before you head out. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.